Good morning, everybody. It's really great to see you all. It's always a joyful moment for me at this event to see so many intersections and supporters together. But today, we are here to honor some really amazing champions, and I am here to present the recipient of this year's Donald H. McGannon Award. Now, this award was created in the memory of former Westinghouse Broadcasting Chairman Donald McGannon to recognize his commitment to social responsibility and creating opportunities for women and people of color in the media. And over the past 30 years, OC Inc. has recognized a long list of distinguished persons who have promoted those kinds of job opportunities. Most of the McGannon honorees have been from the private sector and their role in doing that in the private sector. But this year, we decided to take a slightly different tack, recognizing someone who has worked tirelessly to diversify the ranks of the media reform movement itself. Even the social justice advocates need to have their role models and champions, and to remind them to strive for justice. And our honoree today has been one of those people for me. For the past 15 years, Malkia Amala Cyril has devoted herself to helping grassroots social justice leaders, including women, young people, and people of color, learn the skills they need to have to be effective advocates. Back in 2001, when Malkia still qualified as a young person herself, and shortly before I first met her, she founded the Youth Media Council of Oakland, California. She led campaigns to hold the local radio stations accountable for their content. She produced toolkits and reports, including analysis of newspaper coverage of juvenile justice in California, assessments by young people of their own local television stations and radio stations. Those young people were at the center. It was their analysis that was put forward. They were given the tools to do what they needed to do. In 2008, Malkia went on to found the Center for Media Justice. It's a national organization committed to creating media and cultural conditions to strengthen movements for racial justice, economic equity, and human rights. So as you can see, Malkia's goals have affirmed a welcoming world in the world of the United Church of Christ. And as part of her work at CMJ, she co-founded the Media Action Grassroots Network, which we call Magnet, which today brings together more than 120 nationwide organizations to advance a shared agenda for media justice. 120 organizations working locally together to bring these issues forward. Malkia and her colleagues at the Center for Media Justice walk the walk. Their fundamental mission is to put the people who are most disenfranchised at the center of decision-making about the issues that directly affect them. I think if everybody could reflect today about whether those people were in the halls of power, what we would be doing today as compared with what we are doing. So I'm very proud that later this morning, in addition, the UCC and CMJ are collaborating. We're going to put on a workshop to consider racial justice in the media. It's going to combine some of the best thinking of CMJ and some of the great work that my colleagues in the United Church of Christ have done in grassroots organizing and developing justice leaders. And we're pleased also that United Black Christians are going to join us in co-sponsoring this event. And this, once again, part of the idea will be to raise up the wisdom of ordinary people who don't necessarily work in media communications, but they understand fundamentally. They might not even know it yet, but they understand fundamentally how these issues affect them day to day once they have the opportunity to think about it and reflect. So all of that can almost just capture a little bit of what Malkia has done. Really, I think a lot of the folks in this room recognize her leadership, and we really treasure her participation in our movement. And she has really worked to equip the next generation of media reform activists through training and advocacy and grassroots education. So I am really delighted to have the opportunity to honor Malkia today and recognize her work. I'm honored to walk beside her when I can, rush to catch up to her when I have to, and hopefully together our shared efforts to make media justice a little bit more of a reality. So I'm pleased to present Malkia Amala Cyril, the recipient of this year's Donald H. McGannon Award. Malkia. We're going to go get awards and get a picture, and then we'll do that.
Thank you, Cheryl. So I'm nervous, and I'm also on Maui time, so sorry. I'm tired. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my mother, because I think that she's the reason that I'm standing here with you all today. When I was a child, growing up in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, at the beginning of what would be a long history of troubled sleep, my mom would sing to me as we listened to gunshots and arguments ricocheting outside of our door. She would say, "Lay down, body, lay down, little while. Trouble soon be over. Lay down, little while. Just keep on rolling. Lay down, little while. Trouble soon be over. Lay down, little while." See, what she knew then, what I would learn later, is that song can not only put a child troubled by violence to sleep, it can raise that child to dream. Or it can raise a nation of dissidents to voice, to action, to power. My mother learned this lesson as the grandniece of musicians like Carmen McRae, as the cousin of writers like Michelle Wallace, as the niece of artists like Vivian Schuyler Key. She raised this lesson to core belief, first as a member of SNCC, teaching literacy on the protest line, and then as a leader in the Black Panther Party, running their New York breakfast programs, editing their national newspaper, launching liberation schools throughout New York City, and organizing to oppose media bias against queer youth that looked just like me. In the musical and artistic tapestry of our family, against the bone-crushing opposition to the civil rights and Black Power movements, and in the context of murderous youth criminalization and anti-gay homophobia that threatened her child's life, the core beliefs of my mother's young adulthood bloomed into the organizing principle that would then organize my life, the idea that political change depends upon cultural change. And she lived that principle, even as she was forced to explain to me the terms faggot, super predator, crack baby, welfare mother as I grew up in the 80s and 90s, just as her mother had once explained that N-word to her. Even in the cover of Night, singing to her eldest child, even as she sickened into end-stage sickle cell in 2002, even unto her death in 2005, my mother lived that principle, and she demanded that I live it too. It was toward the end of her life that I had the opportunity to found the Center for Media Justice. And it was then that I had the honor of joining a small group of committed media activists at the Highlander Center in Tennessee, where the term media justice came to describe the vision for a transformed media system, one that agitated, one that reflected new relations of power, new conditions, new consciousness, and new culture. Because we believe that the future in this country depends upon transforming the official stories and the rules and platforms that orchestrate the telling. My mother's song said, "Lay down, body, lay down, little while." And I had no idea then that it was in the thousands of allied arms in which I would find rest. The kind of rest that came from realizing that neither the work nor the win depended solely upon me. If I could accept this award and then give it back to you, I would, because the victory is yours. It's ours. The victory belongs to the social merger that prevented AT&T's economic merger, which would have devastated the pocketbooks of the poor and fattened the wallets of the wealthy. The victory belongs to Prometheus Radio Project, who organized to make Community Radio Act more than a pipe dream. They made it a Pied Piper, calling communities to their licensing rights and turning radio into the tool for change it promised to be. The victory belongs to the incarcerated families and the criminal justice organizers who partnered with the leaders of the Campaign for Prison Phone Justice, our civil rights, faith, and public interest allies who amplified the strategy. Together, we took on the prison phone industry and their predatory practices, and we won. We won big. The victory belongs to the Urbana-Champaign Independent Media Center, the Media Mobilizing Project, the Media Literacy Project, the Institute for Local Self-Reliance, and all the local leaders all over this country who are standing up to say, enough is enough. We will have a truly democratic media and nothing less. And the victory belongs to you, the United Church of Christ. For through each fight, you have remained a strong ally, a powerful leader, and a dedicated servant to underrepresented communities. I'm humbled and I'm honored to receive an award named for the impressive work of Donald McGannon. McGannon called for standards and social responsibility in broadcasting. And all over this country, social movement leaders stand on his shoulders as they transform political partnerships and political relationships by connecting the mechanisms of culture to the mechanisms of power, because power is what this is all about. All over this country, we are winning. We are winning through faith. We are winning through that big agape love. We are winning through collaboration. We are winning through grassroots leadership, and we are winning through cultural change, and we're gonna keep on winning. Because my mama said, lay down a little while. She said, just keep on rolling. She said, trouble soon be over. And with or without their bodies, our mother's songs remain. With or without rights and access, our dissident voices will still rise. In the words of one magnet leader, there are no voiceless people. Only people ain't been heard yet, but I guarantee you we will be. Thank you.